Dear friends, time flies so fast, and in the blink of an eye, the little life in Diem's belly has already reached its 5th month. The wooden house on Sim Hill is no longer just filled with the lively clucking of chickens and the cheerful chirping of birds, but also overflowing with laughter and the soft whispers of a young father to his wife's growing baby bump. The sacrifice a woman makes during pregnancy is the greatest thing in the world. Their bodies change, curves, give way to heaviness, and their once favorite clothes have to be folded and tucked away in the corner of the closet. Our Diem is no exception. Watching his wife try to squeeze into her already tight traditional shirts, trying to hide her insecurities about her body, the heart of the once ruthless former CEO suddenly melted. And so, a split-second decision, packed with the style of an alpha wolf, was made. Cancel all yard work, get the bike out to town. The former CEO himself will style his madam. The sight of a man who used to scrutinize every clause of billion-dollar contracts, now meticulously feeling every thread of fabric and inspecting every stitch to choose the softest maternity dresses for his wife will definitely melt anyone's heart. Lean back comfortably, sip on a refreshing glass of juice, and immerse yourself in today's incredibly sweet, romantic and pampering episode. Former CEO turns stylist and tears of happiness in the pregnant wife's fitting room. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a like to wish Diem a healthy pregnancy. Let the story begin. Early on a chilly winter morning, fog drifted around the old bamboo groves. In the bedroom, warm with the scent of lemongrass, essential oil, Diem was standing in front of a small wooden mirror, her forehead dotted with sweat, even though it was freezing outside. She was trying to button the last button of her dark brown traditional shirt, her most familiar piece of clothing since leaving the city for the countryside. But her 5-month baby bump was already poking out round and full. Snap! A tiny sound echoed as the thread on the belly button, unable to handle the tension, popped right off. Diem sighed softly, her arms dropping to her sides. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her face was a bit rounder, and her once slim waist was completely gone. Even though she knew it was the sacred beauty of motherhood, deep down in a woman's psyche, a hint of sadness and insecurity still washed over her. From the doorway, Toan walked in, holding a steaming cup of hot lotus seed milk. Catching his wife's sad look in the mirror, along with her hand awkwardly covering the popped button, Toan stopped in his tracks. He immediately understood the problem. For almost a month now, he had been so caught up in building more chicken coops and renovating the kitchen to make it warmer that he carelessly hadn't realized his wife's clothes were all too tight. Diem was naturally frugal. She saved every penny for their child's future and absolutely never opened her mouth to ask her husband to buy anything for herself. Toan put the glass of milk on the table, walked slowly up from behind, and wrapped both arms entirely around his wife's round belly. He rested his chin on her shoulder, looking at their reflection in the mirror, and smiled tenderly. "My wifey is putting on some weight lately. You look so glowing and beautiful. Daddy's little baby is growing so fast, making mommy's clothes all tight, huh?" Diem lowered her head slightly, her voice small. "I got fat and ugly, didn't I? My old clothes are all tight. I guess I'll just grab some of your oversized t-shirts to wear for now. Just hanging around the house, taking care of chickens and collecting eggs, buying new clothes is such a waste of money, honey." Hearing those words, Toan's nose stung. The former king of the business world, who used to casually buy luxury designer goods without blinking an eye, was now letting his wife wear his old shirts during the most sensitive months of her pregnancy. "Don't talk nonsense." Toan turned Diem around, cupping her face with both hands, his tone firm but overflowing with adoration. To me, when you're pregnant is when you are the most beautiful, the most sacred. Today orders from the chairman. Drop all the yard work. After breakfast, I'm driving you into town. We're going maternity shopping. Despite Diem's fierce protests about wasting money, Toan firmly grabbed his thickest wool cardigan and wrapped it around her, carefully put her helmet on, and rolled the beat-up motorbike out to the yard. The cobblestone path, lined with vibrant moss roses on both sides, welcomed the first rays of the morning sun. The bike rolled out, cutting through the misty wind to take the couple down to the center of town. Toan didn't take Diem to the stuffy local budget market like usual. He drove straight to the busiest street and parked right in front of the biggest maternity fashion boutique in town, called Mother's Sprout. Through the clear glass doors, mannequins were displayed, wearing gorgeous maternity dresses, bathed in warm yellow lighting and soothing music. Sitting on the back of the bike, Diem tugged at the hem of Toan's shirt. "Honey, this place looks way too fancy. The clothes must be so expensive. How about we just go to the district market and buy a few cheap linen sets to stay cool? That's enough." Toan smiled, helping his wife off the bike, tightly holding her rough hand. "The money I make is ultimately just to keep you and the baby comfortable. Pregnant women have sensitive skin and run hot easily. Wearing cheap market clothes made of synthetic fabrics rubbing against your skin will be so uncomfortable, and that affects the baby too." As soon as they stepped through the glass doors, the sales clerk rushed out to greet them warmly, even though the couple was dressed quite simply and rode an old motorbike. Toan's composed demeanor, his sharp gaze, and the incredibly protective way he hovered over his wife made sure the clerk didn't dare brush them off. "Hello there. How many months along is your wife so I can recommend the right dresses for her?" the clerk asked. While Diem was still looking around in awe, Toan completely slipped back into his CEO persona, inspecting product quality. He didn't look at the designs first. Instead, he reached out and ran his hands over a row of dresses hanging on the rack. The experience of a man who once managed an entire textile supply chain instantly kicked in. "This one has too much polyester blended into the chiffon. It'll trap sweat." Toan frowned, passing it by. "The serged seams on the belly of this one are a bit rough. It'll scratch her skin and make her itch." He continued evaluating another dress. The clerk's eyes widened in shock. Male customers who brought their wives shopping usually just sat on their phones waiting to pay. It was rare to find someone who understood fabrics and stitching in such meticulous detail. Toan turned to the clerk, his tone clear and commanding. "Show me all the dresses made from 100% natural raw cotton, pure silk or bamboo fabric. Prioritize designs with adjustable elastic waistbands that won't dig into her belly, and stick to elegant pastel colors." The clerk quickly brought out a series of dresses matching his exact requests. Toan carefully picked out 5 different outfits, from a silk pajama set as soft as water for lounging at home, a loose raw cotton dress for walking around the garden, to a light, elegant dress for going out or attending prenatal appointments. Specifically, Toan's eyes stopped on a pale cream pure silk dress. It had a long, flowing design gently pleated right under the bust to create the most comfortable space for a baby bump. What caught Toan's attention the most was the collar, which featured a hand-embroidered pale pink lotus blossom just beginning to bloom, looking incredibly pure and exquisite. He knew Diem was deeply spiritual, always finding peace and tranquility in simple, kind life philosophies. That lotus wasn't just a fashion accent. It was like a prayer for peace, a pure shield of protection for both mother and child. "Wifey, take these and go try them on. I'll wait for you out here." Toan handed the stack of clothes to Diem. The fitting room door closed. Outside, Toan sat with his legs crossed on the plush sofa, sipping a hot cup of tea offered by the store, waiting patiently. About 5 minutes later, the velvet curtain was slowly pulled aside. Diem stepped out in the lotus-embroidered silk dress. The whole store seemed to light up, the high-end silk, draped down, hugging the mother's rounded figure, hiding any perceived flaws, while highlighting an incredibly profound, radiant beauty. The hand-embroidered lotus popped against the cream silk, and combined with Diem's bare, makeup-free face, and her hair falling naturally over her shoulders, it created a breathtaking picture of motherhood. But Diem kept her head down, her hands awkwardly clasped together to cover her belly. She looked at Toan hesitantly. "What do you think? This one seems a bit too baggy. It makes me look as fat as a bear. It probably doesn't suit me." The insecurity of a pregnant woman flared up again, as she was so used to having to wear dark clothes to hide her figure. Toan put his teacup down. He stood up and slowly walked over to his wife. Not caring that the clerk was standing right there, he took Diem's fidgeting hands, gently pulled them apart, and placed her hands to rest on her round belly. "Look up at the mirror, honey," Toan said in a deep, warm voice overflowing with love. Diem timidly raised her teary eyes to look into the large mirror. "Do you see yourself as fat? Not at all. I just see an incredible mother carrying an angel inside her. That lotus on the collar is beautiful, but it's not nearly as radiant as the sacrifice and love you're projecting right now." Toan wrapped his arms around her waist, planting a soft kiss on her hair that smelled faintly of locust beans. "My Diem, wearing this dress, looks exactly like a goddess. You're so beautiful, I can't take my eyes off you." A tear of happiness slowly rolled down Diem's cheek. All her insecurities and self-consciousness about her bulky figure and the stretch marks starting to appear on her belly vanished completely in an instant. A husband's genuine compliments, validation, and deep understanding are the absolute best mental medicine to help a woman overcome all the pressures of pregnancy. After the fitting room session full of tears and smiles, Toan didn't hesitate to order the clerk to pack up all 5 outfits Diem had tried on, plus a few sets of maternity underwear made from the best antibacterial cotton. When the clerk handed over the bill, Diem looked at the long string of numbers and jumped hurriedly, tugging on Toan's sleeve. "Honey, that's too much. That's almost as much as selling several batches of our chicken eggs. Let's put a few sets back." Toan let out a hearty laugh, pulling from his wallet the single powerful black card he had kept from his days as CEO, the card holding his personal savings that he swore to only use for the most important family matters. He swiped the card decisively. "Silly wifey, you sell eggs to take care of our daily meals. As for me, I have a secret stash for investments, and today I just made the most profitable, most amazing investment of my entire life. Buying comfort and smiles for my wife and child. Don't feel bad about the money. Just happily wearing beautiful clothes is the absolute best way you can repay me." Diem couldn't say another word. She just smiled through her tears, hugging her husband's sturdy arm tightly as they walked out of the store, her hands carrying the pretty shopping bags. A red sunset blanketed the bustling town. Toan once again drove Diem on the clunky old motorbike back to Sim Hill. But this time the woman sitting on the bike was no longer a wife squeezed into a tight traditional shirt full of insecurities. Diem had asked to wear the brand new lotus-embroidered silk dress right out of the store. The wind caught the hem of her dress, making it flutter, and the soft silk gliding against her skin brought an incredibly light and comfortable feeling. Diem rested her chin on Toan's shoulder, taking in his familiar masculine scent mixed with a faint hint of sweat. "Hey, Toan," Diem whispered, her voice as sweet as honey pouring into his ear. "I'm so happy today, not because I got to buy expensive clothes, but because of the way you meticulously picked out every fabric, the way you looked me in the eye in the fitting room. I feel like the luckiest woman in the world." Toan smirked, his resolute gaze looking straight ahead at the cobblestone path, faintly appearing in the distance. "I've made a lot of wrong choices in the business world, even losing billions. But choosing you as my wife and choosing the absolute best things for you, that is one decision I will never get wrong, whether in this lifetime or the next." The motorbike disappeared behind the bamboo grove. The night on Sim Hill was quiet and peaceful. In the little garden, thousands of moss roses had closed their petals to sleep, making way for one stunning lotus blossom, radiating its fragrance inside the warm wooden house. A man's meticulous care, starting from the smallest things, is truly the softest cradle to nurture a family's happiness. Dear friends, today's episode really left us with such an incredibly sweet aftertaste. Going clothes shopping might just be a normal, everyday activity, but through the way Toan cherished her, picking out every thread of fabric to protect his pregnant wife's skin, and the way he used his words to chase away Diem's body insecurities, we truly see the portrait of a real man. Romance doesn't have to be forced with candles and roses. It's hidden right there in the tender look when he saw his wife's button pop, and in his deep understanding of the psychological vulnerabilities a woman goes through during pregnancy. Diem's pregnancy is entering its middle stage full of excitement, but also plenty of challenges. What kind of hilarious laugh-out-loud moments will new dad Toan bring us next, as he navigates prenatal education, playing music and reading stories to their baby? How do you feel about the way this former CEO pampers his wife? Let us know in the comments section. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to keep following this little family, overflowing with love.